Get ready for Benjamin Knight Fuchs live. All right, Ben. How's it
Mr.
going?
Liam,
How's it going?
Mr. Liam, you make me sound like a real big shot. I don't know if I feel that comfortable with that.
Well,
Make you,
what you're
make you
doing
feel like
here
Johnny
is
Carson.
important
I don't
stuff.
know. I want to be on the down low. I'm trying to be invisible. I'm not very good at being invisible. That's the burden when you have something to say. Do you ever hear of the Greek myth of Cassandra?
No.
Cassandra was condemned by the gods to know the truth, but nobody would listen.
That kind of sounds like what we're doing.
That's her punishment. That was her punishment. Listen, I have discovered through research, clinical research, like actually working with patients, academic research, reading voraciously, my own intuition, laboratory research in my laboratory. I discovered, and my laboratory is a very simple little laboratory. I don't want to imply that it's anything more than it is, but between laboratory experience, academic experience, clinical experience, intuition, I discovered a certain thing about how we treat, how the medical model works, how we treat disease that is very unorthodox, unconventional. In fact, it's a complete outlier, really, but it's logical. It makes sense. It's completely, not only is it logical, it's unfalsifiable. It makes perfect sense, and there's no holes in it. Things like the triangle of disease, which we've been going over, for the last year, basically, and I've been talking about for years. These fundamental ideas in healing that we should be doing, and in healing that we are doing and we shouldn't, that we should be doing and aren't doing, and that we are doing and we should be doing. We should be working at the symptom level and backtracking and seeing how symptoms develop, and then reverse engineering. We should be doing this. We should be treating the body like an engineering system. Like our health problems are dynamics, how fluids move, for example. Mostly, actually, how fluids move. Fluid dynamics, which is physics and engineering, right? We have made the engineering system of the body into a clinical substrate, into something that's what we work on clinically. Clinical chemistry is not the same as biochemistry. And biochemistry is about how everything goes together. It's a very interesting kind of engineering. It's the engineering of living systems. I don't even know what you call it. It's living engineering. And you have to be able to do it. That's how healing will, in the future, that's what will happen, I predict. And that's how we should be doing it. What we are doing that we shouldn't be doing is we're treating the body like it's a bunch of isolated parts. Like each organ is separated from every other organ. You have a heart problem, you go to a cardiologist. You have a digestive problem, you go to a GI guy. You have a brain problem, you go to a neurologist. You got a bone problem, you go to an osteopath. Or eye doctor, you go to an ophthalmologist. You go to different doctors for different parts, but the body is a system. It's all connected. And at the system level, it's about inflammation, and it's about toxicity in the blood, and it's about oxygen. It's not about your gallbladder. It's not about your organs. It's about the systems. And this is a completely different way of looking at it, but it's logical. And it proceeds from what's called systems theory. Have you ever heard of this? I think systems theory. Systems theory is an engineering theory. It started in the 1940s. It's really very modern. Medicine is from the 16th, 15th, 16th, 17th centuries, basically. So, I mean, the fundamentals of it. So what we have to do is we have to look at things differently. And that's what we're talking about. That's why I always talk about systems. I talk about the digestive system, the blood sugar system, the adrenal thyroid complex, the endocrine system. There are all these different systems that have to be accounted for. The body is systems driven, not organ driven. And that's a very important paradigm shift in health and wellness and healing. The beautiful thing about systems theory is when it comes to systems, our lifestyle plays a huge impact on multiple biological processes. If you work at fundamental systems like the immune system, you control everything. The inflammatory system, you control everything. The digestive system, you control everything. The blood sugar system, everything. So you can have powerful effects on multiple processes and symptoms by working at fundamental levels. And that's why I like this whole idea of the triangle of disease and working at the systems of the body, which there aren't a lot of systems in the body. Fundamental systems.
Absolutely.
All right,
Makes
so what are we going to do today?
perfect sense. And so we're going to try something new. We're going to have Ben take a look at, this avalanche of social media. Everybody has an opinion on everything, and it would be fun to get
My opinion?
Ben's take
Yes,
on.
sense. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So here's our first selection. We're gonna play it and get Ben's response.
1/8 of a teaspoon of this spice was shown to not only prevent
I think I lost you.
Parkinson's disease as well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Clint Steele. I'm a brain and nervous system specialist, and I help people just like you improve their health.
Hey, Liam. I can't hear the guy.
Yes.
Can you hear him?
Oh,
I couldn't
yeah,
hear him.
I can
He
hear him.
stopped. It cut out. Yeah, I couldn't
Goodness.
hear it after a little
That's
bit.
not
I heard
good.
the first little bit. He says he's Dr. Clint Steele. I'll tell you what. I don't know if you want to play it, if we can even play it. But I have a little problem with this. I haven't heard him. I don't want to pick on him because I didn't hear the whole thing. But the idea of just doing ginger to somehow take care of your Alzheimer's dementia to prevent and reverse. He says, I don't know if he actually said it, but this is what it reads. 1/8 of a teaspoon of the spice was proven to prevent and even reverse dementia. Really? Why would you say something? Now, I don't know if he said that. Maybe the marketer put that, caption on there. But that really throws mud in the water. And what's the phrase? Throws mud in the water. It muddies the water. Come on, Dr. Clint Steele. Don't say things like that. If you did say it, maybe you didn't say it. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say you didn't say it. Your marketer put that up there. But that's not right. Come on. Alzheimer's is a degenerative condition. The tissue degenerates based on poison, glycation, and lack of oxygen, inflammation. It's biochemistry. To say that ginger will reverse or prevent, that's just not right. And it makes us all look bad, Dr. Clint Steele. Now, maybe you didn't say that. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and we'll say your marketer put that on there. But no, you shouldn't put stuff like that up there. That just confuses people. It gets people to place attention in the wrong place. Look, you got your Alzheimer's dementia because you're drinking soda and you're eating McDonald's and you're not breathing and you're not exercising and you're probably not operating your brain from you can actually learn to exercise your brain. Do you know this, Liam? You can exercise your brain. You can memorize phone numbers. You can memorize the batch numbers. This is what I do. I memorize the batch numbers on bulk foods. They have the bulk foods 62636 and 23. And I'll memorize it. And I try to memorize the credit card numbers. There's certain things that you can do to exercise your brain to get more neural connections, to get more blood to your brain, to improve detoxification of the brain. Sleep is, by the way, very important. And water is very important too. So say ginger will reverse, and that's not right. I would say thumbs down on that guy, or on that message. I don't want to pick on him because I didn't get to hear him.
No, that's why we're here, to get Ben's
What's the next one?
expertise. Let's see. Oops, what do we got? We got some sort of pop up there. So let's take. Can you hear this?
They say there's 10,000 papers in the medical
Hang on,
literature
don't go away.
saying they found polio. Here's what they did. They took a child who had
Stop for a
paralysis
second.
when
Stop
they
for a
died.
second.
They say
Stop for a
they had
second. This guy,
took their spine.
this guy's Dr. Thomas Cowan. Brilliant. Genius. He's like me in the sense that, and I'm not even going to say I'm remotely as smart as he is, but he's like me in the sense that he's seeing things that nobody else is seeing. and he's got some very brilliant things to say. He's talking here about probably about vaccines and viruses. This is a guy you want to listen to, not that knucklehead from Washington who is, I'm not going to mention his name. This is the guy right here, Thomas Cowan. Brilliant guy. He has multiple excellent books about pandemics, about viruses, about the heart. Great one on the heart. He's just incredible. One of my great heroes. Go ahead. Let's listen to him.
Continue.
Ground it up in a blender, put it in a syringe, injected it into the brain of 2 monkeys. They didn't look for a virus, they didn't filter it, they didn't centrifuge it. 1 monkey died and the other got paralyzed, and they said that proves that polio is a contagious disease caused by a virus. And they did that to 100,000 plus monkeys. After 50 years of doing this, somebody had the bright idea of taking a spine of a normal person, grinding that up, putting it in a syringe, injecting it into a monkey's brain. You know what happened? Monkey got paralyzed. Turns out monkeys don't like...
Do you hear what he said? They injected the ground up spine, and they've deduced from that, because the monkeys died, excuse me, because the monkey died or got paralyzed, that there was a virus in there. But they did with a normal spine, the same thing happened. Because it's not the virus, it's the freaking spine stuff that they're sticking in the monkey's brain. You follow what I'm saying? It's not the spine from the polio. Any spine is going to do it. You don't stick it's like the cholesterol test. When they did the cholesterol tests, they gave the cholesterol to rabbits, and they noticed that the rabbits got plaques. And they said, oh, cholesterol causes plaques. Well, they forgot to mention that rabbits are vegetarians. They don't eat cholesterol. You got these fundamental premises that are wrong, and we build on top of them, such as this one right here about how polio, everybody knows about polio. Well, he's saying they never showed anything. They built on top of the idea that there is this virus called polio, but a polio virus that causes it, but they've never really proven it at the fundamental level. But then he continues, I think. Let's continue. Listen to what else he says.
10 cc's of spinal goop into their brain. Now we do it by taking the same goop, we put it on growing cells from monkey kidneys. We put in antibiotics that are toxic to kidneys. We take away the food, and if the monkey kidney cells die, we say that proves the existence of the virus. That's called isolation.
Okay, so this is how they isolate viruses. Okay, they used to stick it right in the brain, and now they take the brain out, or the kidney, they use kidney, and they put it in a dish. And then they infect the virus. They put the so-called stuff, that's the virus, which they've extracted from somebody that was infected, and they put it in the cell. But they forget to tell you that what is the cell sitting in? The cell's not sitting in a natural, healthy environment. It's sitting in a toxic environment, particularly with antibiotics. They're literally putting antibiotics in there. I mean, there's no way to isolate the system to prove your premise that there's this virus that's causing all of these problems. They can't isolate it. It's not possible. But they do this thing they call isolation, and then they proceed from that point forward without mentioning that you can't do the isolation, which is the foundation of the whole thing. Not effectively. It's not possible to isolate the virus. Continue.
Isolation of the virus to this very day. Every single virus, that's how they isolate it. Now, we decided to do the same thing, but we didn't add anything from anybody who's sick. We just put the monkey kidney cells, and we put the antibiotics. We took away the food, and you know what happened? The cells died. Proving that every single paper proving the existence of a virus is anti-scientific nonsense. But Tom, they say, there's
right?
Wow.
He's right. He's right.
Wow.
He's 100% right. And that's what I'm telling you. You have to look outside. It's like the emperor has no clothes, right? You have to be the guy saying the emperor has no clothes. Everybody's saying virus, this, virus, that. Thomas Cowan is coming here saying you've never isolated the thing. Your isolation experiment is flawed because you can get the same results without the virus. You get the same results that you get with the virus without the virus. If you put antibiotics with the cells and you put rob it of food and you try to, isolate or keep it, make it individual from its natural environment in the body, in an organ, you're creating the synthetic environment for the cell and you're throwing toxins in it. And then you're saying, oh, it's the virus that caused the cell to die or got sick. No, you get the same results when you don't have a virus that you put in there just by robbing the cell of food and putting poison in it. So your very foundation of your premise is flawed, is what I'm saying. And Thomas Cowan is one of the very few brilliant, I shouldn't say, there's a lot of them, brilliant people. And he's like I say, he is my medical hero. He's a medical doctor. I think he might be an engineer, if I'm not mistaken. I got to look into that. He might also be an engineer. I might be wrong about that, but super brilliant guy. Love the guy. I get to meet him someday.
Outstanding. We've got a shout out from Heal and Prosper. Hi Ben, appreciate your take on improving health and skin. My question is, what do you think of vibration plates? And can you talk about fatty liver? Seems like we're going all over the highway here. Maybe you can.
Vibration plates are great. Power plate and such, they're great. Big believer in them. Power plate. Do you know what they are? You stand on, they vibrate. They leverage something called piezoelectricity. Piezoelectricity is electrical charges that are generated by pressure movement. And pressure and movement will generate electrical charges, which then can be transferred to muscles and to blood and to cells to facilitate their health. Big believer in vibration plates. Everything's vibration at the end of the day. Fatty liver is a serious problem. Very serious problem. I wish, let's talk about it next time. We'll talk about fatty liver. Why don't you pull out a couple of videos for fatty liver? Let me just say this real quick. The liver is, in the Army, they have warehouses. Did I ever tell you this, Liam? You're laughing. I don't like to repeat myself, but I talk on so many podcasts. I forget said to what. So the liver is like a warehouse. In the Army, you have the warehouses where they have the boots and the clothes and the guns and the helmets and you go and you get there's a warehouse. There are warehouse people and you get what you need, right? The liver is your warehouse for amino acids, for B vitamins, for essential fatty acids, for vitamin A, for hormones. Then it's also a detoxifying system. I should say it's especially a warehouse for sugar and for energy. So what we're doing today with energy is so egregious to the body in general, flooding it with energy. By energy, I mean sugar and processed foods. Processed foods and sugar are so alluring because they're very high energy, and the body is designed to get pleasure from energy, high energy. It's not good energy because we can't really use that energy, and that energy ends up going into the liver, where it just wreaks havoc eventually. The liver cannot handle it. The energy in the liver, by the way, is stored as sugar and stored as fat. And between fat and sugar, you have the main causes of fatty liver. Now, you can compound that with the fact that the liver is a detoxifying structure. So all the poisons that we've been surrounding our body with, in the last maybe 150 years, there's been, 100,000 plus, probably a couple 100,000 chemicals that have been introduced into the human environment. The exposome. The exposome is all the stuff that's in the environment. They call it the exposome, the exposome. I think I'm getting that right. I hope I'm getting that right. It's basically all the stuff that's in the environment, the air, the water, the environment that we're immersed in. There's probably been, I don't even know. I remember it was 80,000 like 20 years ago. So it's probably a couple 100,000 at this point, chemicals in the environment. I'm not sure the exact number, but it's a lot. And so that has to be purified by the liver. Then there's all the weird hormonal things that are happening, and that has to be purified for the liver. Estrogen, particularly, xenoestrogens. And many of these chemicals, by the way, act like estrogens. Long story short, the liver is, number one, being flooded with energizers. Number two, it's being overworked with medications, with toxins, with the exposome. Number three, the liver is very dependent on the blood. And when the blood becomes sticky and sludgy, it doesn't get nourished. So for so many reasons, our livers are fatty and toxic. In fact, today they call it non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And they have to call it non-alcoholic fatty liver disease to distinguish it from alcoholic fatty liver disease, because it used to be that the only people that would have livers as toxic as ours were alcoholics. Now there are non-alcoholics that are getting it. In fact, there are even kids that are having fatty liver issues. So it's a serious, serious, serious health problem. You do not want anything to go wrong with your liver. And the problem is you won't know it right away, but you'll gradually be detoxifying food less efficiently, be releasing nutrients less efficiently. You'll gradually get sicker and sicker. And it may show up as all kinds of health challenges. And there are people you'll hear say, oh, that's your liver. You ever hear people, when you tell them you got a skin problem, or you got an eye problem, or you got some problem, it's like, that's your liver. Yeah, because everything's your liver. Every problem is associated with the liver. It's the first point on the triangle of disease and the second point on the triangle of disease and the third point on the triangle of disease. It's the organ that's on all 3 points of the triangle of disease: digestive, blood sugar, hormonal. How do you like that? All right. And thank you for the kind words. Who was that? What was that gentleman's name? Our one listener?
That was Heal and Prosper.
Heal and Prosper.
From YouTube.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Heal and Prosper. Thanks you for being my
that.
Listener and questioner. There's my true treatments.
I'm thinking, what do you say? Want to do a deep dive on one of these?
Listen, you're helping me market my products. I'll tell you what, ionic plant-derived minerals in the biomimetic mineral mist, those are critical. Those are the most fascinating to me as a chemist, a skincare chemist and nutritionist. They're the most fascinating of all topical and nutritional ingredients. And I'm fascinated with a lot of them because they are the interface between the quantum world and the biological world. Did you hear what I said there? Minerals, the ionic plant minerals are the interface between the quantum world and the material world. They're where the quantum world meets the material world. They carry quantum particles on them. And I don't want to get into too much chemistry, although chemistry is cool, but the quantum particles that they carry, they facilitate lots of cellular processes and reactions and play a role in numerous facets of cellular health. But one of my favorite, we'll say, is the one we were just talking about, and it's the mitochondria. The mitochondria are the parts of the cell that convert food into energy. So we're just talking about energy. Well, the energy in the body is derived from food via mitochondria, and the minerals, ionic trace minerals, are very important for stabilizing mitochondrial chemistry because they're active at the tiniest of levels, protons and electrons. And proton and electron chemistry is extremely important at the tiny levels of the mitochondria, which are carrying electrons. So they're susceptible to a lot of damage, the mitochondria. And I hope I didn't get into too much chemistry there, but that is quantum chemistry, they call it, or PChem, physical chemistry, they call it in pharmacy school. And that's what that product leverages. It supplies electrical energy for mitochondria, among many other benefits, by the way. It also helps pull nutrients into the skin. It's antioxidant. It activates cells like the keratinocytes and the fibroblasts. It's just incredibly well-rounded active ingredient, ionic plant-derived minerals, and that's an ionic plant-derived mineral spray.
And how do you
use it? Great question. I'm getting all wonky with the chemistry, and you're like, how do you use it? Lots of ways. First of all, you blend it with your transdermal C serum or your retinol or your other truth treatments, because when you blend it, the active ingredients in the biomimetic mineral mist facilitate penetration of the retinol and your transdermal and your fatty vitamin C and your other active ingredients. So blending it with other truth treatments, that's number one. Number two, spray right directly on your skin, especially on wounds, but on your face, great for just cellular nourishment, just for skin health. Plus, it's a true hygroscopic or water trapping ingredient for softening the skin surface. And number three, on your hair, when you come out of the shower, it'll make your hair nice and soft because it pulls in water. So that's the 3 ways I recommend biomimetic mineral mist. One of my favorites, active ingredients. I use them in ionic plant-derived minerals. I use them in a lot of products, a lot of formulations. Thank you for asking, Liam. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. It's fascinating. quantum. We're in the quantum world, man.
You know,
It's pretty intense.
it's funny because skincare really needs to be quantum. And it's hard to express that because quantum is so intimidating and skincare so friendly. You know, anybody can use skincare, but quantum is really, you know, that if you understand quantum, it gives you a lot of leverage over skincare as well as over anything else you're formulating in the world of biochemistry or biology, because at the end of the day, chemistry only works because of quantum. You know, chemistry is one step above quantum. If you understand quantum, you can be a really good chemist.
Wow.
There
Exciting.
you go.
Outstanding.
All right. Well, thank you. That was a long one. I thought we were going to do a short one. That was a long one.
Yeah, these podcasts
Life
have a
of their
life
own.
of their own. Sometimes I don't even feel like
Right.
I'm I'm helping produce it.
You are. It's like living. It's a living thing on its own. All right, Liam.
It's a living thing.
Next
man.
Sunday. I like
Not
this
like
new
a
system
show.
you have. It saves me. It's a lot of work pulling out these papers and stuff.
Yeah, you do. I mean, what does it take you? Like 6 to 8 hours per
It takes me about probably four
podcast?
hours or so, 4 or 5 hours to do it. Each show.
4 hours. Yeah.
I shouldn't complain, but
Well,
big-
so let us know what you think about our new format. We're Ben Fuchs Unfiltered, getting the opinions as they happen from Monsieur Fuchs there.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Liam. See you next week.
thanks everyone for watching. See you guys next week, and truthtreatments.com.
.com.
Don't forget.
Thanks, Liam. I appreciate
Thanks.
that.
Bye-bye.
Bye.